Actually really excited about this one. So I think we talked quite a while back about doing this, and I didn't think I'd ever actually manage to convince you to come in and do this.
It's timing.
It's timing.
Yeah.
I don't know if we warn people up front about your accent.
Maybe.
Is that?
I'm really posh, you know.
Yeah. Well, the first time we met was like you had a studio day. And I booked out the whole studio day for myself and Jamila, who was sort of just starting to shoot.
That was like about 5, maybe 6 years ago now.
Yeah, it's a long time. Whoa. It's crazy, right? And I walked in and we had come from hospital and we were going back to the hospital. Yeah,
because you were having a bit of a bad time then, weren't you? Yeah.
And walked in and I sort of like was a bit, at first I was very intimidated by you. And
why?
Well, you have this like, we'll get to my fandom and stuff, but I walk into the studio, I was a bit intimidated to say anything to you, and Jamila was the first one to talk to you. She's like, "Hi, I'm Jamila," and you, I'm not going to do the impression because we know I'm very good at the impression, but you said hello, and I was like, "Wait, is she doing an accent?"
Like, I probably went, "Aya."
Yeah, you did. So where did you grow up? Let's just get that out of the way.
I grew up in Liverpool.
Right.
Yeah.
The mean streets.
The mean streets. Yeah, quite working class area.
Yeah.
But I'm actually adopted.
Right.
So my mum and dad were like a lot older than my friends' parents.
Right.
So like my brother and sister were like 20 years older than me. So I've got it's a funny family, but it kind of works type of thing. So yeah, I grew up quite sort of working class, not really having much money growing up. Just like just a normal.
So is it modelling that brought you south?
No, not really. I was modelling up north.
You were modelling there, right?
Because I've been modelling since I was quite young. Like I got into it when I was around 9 or 10.
Well, tell us how that happened.
It was with there was a photographer who did some family portraits, and then he just said to my mum, you know, she's good in front of the camera. And it just sort of led to like little jobs from there.
Right.
But it was never serious. It was just always bits and bobs. And then I did a bit for my teenage years.
Right.
But I never thought it could be a career.
So at what point did you become Carla Monaco?
So that was about 10 years ago.
Right.
So I was working with children at the time. And I was still doing bits of modelling, but I wasn't earning much money from it. It was just like bits and bobs. And then it was mainly like the internet. Like I thought, you know, maybe I could earn a bit more money on the side of what I was doing. And I was really into the vintage style.
Right.
So like Bridget Bardot look, stuff like that.
Right.
So I got with an agency who was like an alternative agency, and they recommended I change my name it was Carla Monaco, but I didn't like that at first. Right. I wanted to be called Carla Lake because I like the movie star Veronica Lake.
Okay.
And then they put my name as Carla Monaco themselves.
They just decided.
Yeah, they just decided, and I was like, oh, so I hated it for years, but it
really?
kind of stuck. So I just
do you like it now though?
Yeah, I do. Especially when people realise I'm from Liverpool.
Yeah.
It's quite funny.
Well, when you, obviously with your accent being quite a departure from, I think what it is you build up an impression of what someone's like based on pictures.
Yeah.
And when I met you and your accent was like wildly not what I was expecting. I was expecting like either a West Country accent for some reason. I don't really know how to explain that. Or I was expecting you to have like that kind of, oh, hello.
Oh, hello. It's funny because I worked with a guy early this week and he came to shoot me at my home, and he was a bit shocked as well. And he was like, I thought you'd have a Mayfair accent. Right. And I'm like, no. No,
it's I think it is we build up an idea. I have this really bizarre thing of every time I've ever met a celebrity, I've always thought they were short.
Okay.
because in my head,
because Tom Cruise.
No, I think it's because in my head, I think because they're famous, they must be just bigger than normal people. I have no idea how to like quantify it. It must be some kind of psychological damage from when I was a kid.
Maybe.
But yeah, it's been like the most bizarre thing. With your, am I allowed to say obsession with kind of, you have a lot of stuff that's in that Brigitte Bardot area, and you seem to like working in that wheelhouse.
I think like fashion's my favorite.
Yeah.
That's what I really love to do, working with a team, creating different concepts. But I don't know what it is with the vintage. I really don't. I think I love it. But even when I'm not going into something thinking this is going to be vintage, it kind of like
goes
looks
that way. Yeah.
I don't know why.
You've got quite a classical look. I guess that might be the start of it. But is it to do with like the feeling of that time period? Do you watch films from that time period?
Yeah. Well, I think maybe it's because of my dad. Like, he loved a lot of the 60s music and films and TV shows. So because they were a lot older than like my friends' parents, that's what I kind of grew up on. Yeah. So I think it's just something like in my head, you know. I think it's hard to explain, but I don't know, it's really cool. Like, there's a lot of really cool bands from that time, and the styling's really classic, and you know.
I think it's also like quite a strong period for women.
Yeah.
Like in terms of like in fashion, it was like quite a striking period.
Yeah, and they could express themselves more with fashion and clothes and the hair and Yeah.
Are you like, I don't want to say sad because I don't want to make it out like other people are going to be like disappointed, but are you sad when it's not that kind of styling for a shoot? Do you like having the variety?
No, I'm not sad. I like the variety.
Yeah.
I like doing different things, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I love the vintage style, but I don't want to shoot that all the time, you know.
Right. Otherwise it just becomes the
samey.
norm.
Yeah.
Is there like a style of photography or you know, being a model, regardless of the medium, is there like a genre that you can't get your head around, that you're not a fan of? Do you ever get asked to do stuff where you're like, I don't think this is for me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's lots of things really. I'm trying to think. There's some things I just won't do, like bondage and that sort of thing. Or usually like when it's, I sometimes struggle with like the glamour genre.
Right.
Because a part of me does quite like the glamour look, especially from like the early 90s, you know, like, I'm just trying to think, like people like Pam Anderson, you know, in her heyday, where it was, the styling was beautiful, the makeup, the hair. I struggle when it's sort of like people want to shoot glamour and they haven't thought about the styling. It's just like girl on a bed type of thing. Yeah. Like, I really struggle. Yeah,
they're kind of focused on the way they feel when they view it as opposed to the way that it was created. Yeah. Right. What is it about?
I don't know.
What about, so you're not a fan of like modern glamour? Because I can't stand modern glamour.
Some of it I like. I can't say I don't. There's some pictures I see and I think they look great, gorgeous, beautiful. I don't know. I think it's like for me to pose and be like that, it needs to be real, and I don't want to do that with just anyone, if that makes sense. Right.
You almost, it's a genre like you want to be done properly.
Yeah, and it's quite intimate, I think.
Right.
And but I do like it. It's just, I don't think I'm the strongest at it, you know?
Right. Is that like a, why would that be? Why are you not the strongest at it?
I don't know. Probably because I don't know. I think you've got to have it in your head, really.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
It's a mindset.
Yeah, it's a mindset. Like some models, they just automatically can do it and feel comfortable being that way in front of a lot of people, whereas I feel more exposed.
Right.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, like,
because I can be nude and pose in like in an art nude way, and then you're more exposed physically, but I feel more it's hard to explain, more confident, more in control.
But isn't art nude more about like geometry and shapes, whereas glamour is more of it's like you as a person.
Yeah.
Like someone's judgment of you as a person. So it's completely different sort of audience.
Yeah, and I think it depends on your mood as well. You know, and who's shooting it. I feel comfortable with that person and I think, yeah, the styling's right, I feel confident, makes you feel sexy, you're going to give better pictures. So
what's ignoring like the safety aspect and stuff like that, but as far as like so you're working with a new photographer, what is it and I don't mean new as in they've never done it before, but what is it that they can do that is like will make you like feel like you're straight into the, like you're in the mood for like producing the best photos, you're kind of like, you know, it puts you in the zone to kind of do the best with the shoot?
I would say just sitting down and talking to me and just getting to know me a bit better, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to know me life story and stuff, but
well, they got the podcast. That's
yeah, exactly. But you know, just chit chat and
have a coffee, have a chat before the shoot.
Feel comfortable with that person, and then you know, tell them, you know, this is what I want to create. You know, get your mood board out or get pictures. What mood you're going for, clothes.
Is that like the most missed out thing? Because I hear this quite a lot where there's not a clear direction. Like there's not a visual direction anywhere where like the model's not seeing what the idea is. They're just kind of like, it's this genre and they don't get given much else.
Yeah.
Is that like
yeah, it can be, yeah.
And do you make a lot of like mood boards and stuff yourself?
I collect images and things that I like. And I've got lots of clothes, and I think, I mean, me personally, I'm more visual.
Yep.
Sometimes if you explain something to me, it kind of like, I don't know, just goes. Whereas if you've got pictures together or, you know, create something, this is what we're going for.
Right.
But also don't be too strict on it. You know, don't try and recreate something completely because you'll never get it.
Yeah. And that's a problem I've always had with mood boards, is that I could put an image into, so if I have a mood board, it will generally be for like the feeling of the shoot.
Yeah, the mood.
I'm not necessarily saying you have to have this item and they have to be posed in this way.
Yeah.
It's more about the mood. And I have had a few situations where models have taken it to be really literal. Like, we're shooting this. Yeah. So you have to own these items and like to the point where it's like, no, we're just going for that idea. We're going for that feeling. What is it then? So you turn up for a shoot and then like you're thrown straight in at the deep end. Is that like the worst thing?
Can be, yeah. Especially if there's the person who's booking you, if there's no energy from them.
Yeah.
You know, where it's like they've just booked you, you do everything. Sometimes I find that quite hard, really.
Yeah.
Sort of like, because you've got a model, think about the clothes, the poses, the mood. And if you're not getting anything back, it's sort of like, you know, what's going on?
Is it going well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you worry because you think, are they okay? You know, did they like me? It can be difficult.
I think that might be my problem.
Really?
Yeah. Like, I'm not someone that's like stupidly enthusiastic. The problem I have, in all honesty, and we've worked together enough that I promise you understand what I mean. If I was to do this, if I was shooting and I was like, that is amazing, that is brilliant, you would be like, is he being sarcastic? Is he winding me up? And I'm so concerned with being seen as being sarcastic and like killing the trust that way.
Yeah.
I'm almost terrified to do the whole complimentary thing. It's just it's not in my personality. I've said before, like if I say something's amazing, it's because it's like, it's amazing. It's not like, I'm not someone that's going to like lens capsule on. It's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, test shot. It's amazing.
You want it to.
I want a compliment to have some weight to it at least. When it comes to working with like new photographers that haven't done a lot of work with models before, what's like the biggest issue you find with that? Like, do you find like a confidence issue or a lack of direction or?
Sometimes it's nerves because they're nervous, you know, they're meeting you for the first time and sometimes they've put you on a pedestal, some of them.
I did.
But it's like most of the girls you meet, they're just normal, down to earth girls, really. So I just try and, be myself and, you know, once they get talking to me, they realise, oh, she's just normal.
Right.
You know, but I suppose lack of communication sometimes, that can be and not just like what you're saying. Sometimes it's how you say things.
Right.
Or you sometimes get people who think, I don't know, maybe they've watched something or they've seen something on a tuition or where they think they've got to overpose you.
Right. Like micromanage you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find that hard.
That's hard when the they don't know you and they don't know, I don't know what the correct term is, but they don't know how you hold yourself.
Yeah.
And then they try and make you kind of almost push against the way that you feel natural. Yeah. I've seen that on workshops a few times where people have been like, yeah, I like it, but can the pinky rotate? And it's like, is that going to make or break it?
Yeah. But it affects your expression.
Yeah. You start concentrating like internally. So you almost like shut down a bit facially.
Yeah.
Like I've seen that so many times that people are like, what are we doing? And
so I'd rather the expression and the feeling in the face look good. And then if the hand, like, I don't know, I can deal with like a bad hand, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah. Expression's key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think the expression, it follows the body. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I think as well, one of the other problems with micromanaging, especially when you're posing people, I find this with brides and grooms that aren't used to being around the camera, is that when you stop the flow of taking pictures to tell them that something's not right, some people can take it personally, like that they're not good at this. And it just kills momentum. It kills confidence. And sometimes, I mean, I always say to people, just kind of shoot through certain issues, like direct away from a problem. Don't stop and point out a problem. So you could be shooting, it could be like half body portraits and they're just, they're turning one way, but you've keyed the light up in the other way and they're not particularly, experienced as a model. And if you're like, no, what are you doing? The light's over here.
It breaks your spirit.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how experienced you are and how good you are. If you get told, no, I don't like that.
Yeah.
It's like they've spoilt because you want the best pictures. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And can kind of spoil your spirit. And then you've got to then get back to where you were before.
Yeah. And you've got to do it yourself.
Yeah.
Because it's not like you're now not getting it reciprocally. You have to get there yourself. So that's probably...
I had it a few weeks ago with a photographer who's really nice, but he kept going on about other models he'd worked with.
Right.
Who were really good. Like they are really good models. But he kept going on how good they were.
Right.
And I'm posing, doing like an art nude thing. And, but this model did it this way. And then she did this. And I'm thinking, but I'm not that model.
Right.
I can't do what she did. So I said, I'll do it my way. Is that okay?
And how was that? Was he happy about that?
I think so, yeah. But you never know. But I sometimes find that hard. And then he said some model who was the best ever at this. He said, you're really good at it, but she was the best. Which is, that's his opinion. But I thought, why are you telling me this when I'm like, I'm trying to give you my best and you...
Do you find it's like I think there's a misunderstanding where people think that models are just eternally confident in themselves and your job is to kind of keep that confidence there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard because you have to have a thick skin for what people say to you. But then that guy, he's not doing anything wrong. He doesn't realise what he was saying.
No, it's an unintended circumstance, but still it's a circumstance he's created.
And I left and I had a good shoot, but I did feel quite down, and you think, but it's little things like that you have to deal with. It's like little awkward situations.
Right.
That kind of like, you get you down, but then you've just got to get yourself back up again and get on with what you're doing.
Have you ever felt like you've had like an absolutely terrible shoot where like the two of you haven't clicked and then they've come back and they're like, that was amazing, we should shoot again. And you're like, Christ.
Yeah.
Like, because that's got to be draining, right?
Yeah. Yeah. There was someone I worked with a few years ago and he was on a model day and he came in completely normal, really nice, chatty. And he was talking about his new baby daughter and you think, he's going to be normal. And he was just really odd, weird. As soon as he had me in front of the camera, wanting to touch me all the time. He had a really strange laugh. Like, he was just like freaking me out a bit.
Right.
I think
nervous energy or like
really nervous energy. And I was just thinking, I just felt like he was a bit out of control.
Right.
Like, he didn't do anything to me, he didn't touch me, but it was just the way he was.
Right.
It really freaked me out. And yeah. And then after that, he wanted to book me again, and he was sending me images from the shoot. And yeah, I was just a bit like, oh, I don't want to go there again.
Yeah, it's.
And he didn't, it's like he didn't touch me.
Yeah.
But it was his personality. Like, he just made me feel really uncomfortable.
Yeah. But that's the thing, is that like you're a person.
Yeah.
And you're going to have your preferences, but you're going to encounter so many different types of people because you're the common link, right, between so many different types of personality. It's not like these photographers are going to meet each other and be like, oh, wait, I do that. And now I see how that makes me feel when he does that. I won't do that. Photographers only interact with the models. And I think, I mean, maybe I'm wrong here, but I think that there are definitely some models that are way too agreeable with bad behavior and like bad personality traits, because it's a customer service industry, I guess. And they've worked with photographers and like it's been horrible for them, but they've like almost encouraged it for the point of keeping a good rapport. And then that person goes on and they're like, well, I did this thing and it was absolutely loved by that person, so I'll now do that times 10.
Because no one's said that's not.
Yeah, you need unnecessary evil. You need some really horrible model to be going around, and every time they're acting a certain way, just be like, what is wrong with you? What is your personality? What's happening there?
But sometimes it's just personality clash as well,
Yeah. I've had shoots before where I can't say there was anything wrong with the model, and I can't point to a thing that they've done, but we have just absolutely not gelled. And you can't force it. How do people react to the fact that because you're married to a photographer?
Yeah.
Is that like a competitive thing? Do people get competitive or nervous?
Not really. I mean, I sometimes get people say, oh, your husband's really good. I don't know. I think they expect me to know a lot about the lighting and stuff like that.
But how does he do this? Kind of thing, right.
And I don't know.
I think he teaches, right?
Yeah,
so they should just go to his teaching.
Yeah. But I think they sometimes, like we were saying before, like putting you on a pedestal. Right. I think they just think, you come from, me and Adrian are shooting all the time, but it's not like that, Like me and Adrian have been shot together for ages. And because when we teach, Adrian doesn't always shoot. Right. Because he teaches in a different way. But no, most people are cool. Right. I'd say. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I remember the first time I saw him, we saw each other like 4 times before we ever spoke. Yeah. Because I think he came to pick you up a couple of times from the studio and stuff. And I was always like, do we not like each other? Like,
really?
Yeah. Because I don't know if it was like, I don't know him well enough. I know him now. We've spoken many times now, but I don't know him well enough to know if it was like he didn't want to intrude or.
Sometimes he gets a bit nervous, right? Because he doesn't want, he sort of like wants to come in and out. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't want to get in people's way.
Yeah, and he would kind of appear and then go, and I'd be like, "Did I do something?" Or and it wasn't helped by someone that we know mutually actually threw quite a lot of petrol on that fire and was like, well, he said. Right. And like made out that there was this thing going on. And then the first time I spoke with him, I was like, oh, there's nothing here. Like he's just like a
normal person.
Yeah, it's just a guy. And like, yeah. So it's funny how that works. I mean, one thing I've noticed more than anything is that if you are on the outside of the modeling industry, and I'm now probably too old to actually know what it's like to be away from working with models, but I remember coming into it thinking, models are probably all really hard people to get along with because they all they have their own, they have their own language and they're like a step above all the other people. That's how I saw it coming in. And I actually find there are quite a lot of photographers that are more like that.
Yeah.
And I haven't really encountered that with models so much.
Yeah.
I've had more problems with male models than female models. Oh yeah.
I haven't worked with many male models.
Yeah.
To be fair.
Like I much prefer, there's a lot about working with men that I much prefer. Like the editing, I much prefer the editing. It's much more enjoyable and you can throw more. I find with some female models, you have to know the way that person models to direct them. And I'm not a big director. I'm not someone who really likes to kind of move too much around. I like to kind of see how a person sort of holds himself. Whereas with guys, you can just kind of throw moods at them and see what they do.
Right.
But when you get a guy that's been good looking since he was 12 years old and like every girl was after him at school and then he's out at uni and every girl's after him, he's not going to be a normal guy. He's going to be an absolute dick. Almost always.
I haven't worked with many male models really.
Right.
So I haven't seen much of that. I think I've only worked with about 3 male models and one recently and he was really good. And he made me feel really comfortable. I think he's like a ex-dancer or something.
Right.
But no, I've not.
I love working with actors. Actors are fun.
Yeah.
Like people that have only done modelling, male modelling. Not all, but like a scary proportion are like, lots of women. But I have trouble when I go out because basically like women fight over me and you're just like, this is a fun conversation for both of us.
Oh, God.
We're totally both enjoying this. I had a really bizarre one with a guy where he turned up like 2 days early. He's sent by agency. He turned up 2 days early and I was like, hi. And he's like, I'm here for the shoot. And I was like, yeah, it's Tuesday. This is Sunday. Like, you're not supposed to be here. And he's like, well, I'm here. Can we just...
Really?
So I was
just
like,
so casual.
I need to get rid of this. Like, get rid of this. I don't want this guy coming back. So we did like the quickest shoot I could put together. And he was like trying to sell me fake watches and vape.
What?
The whole way through the shoot.
Oh
and it's
my
like...
God. It's like a little Del boy.
He ended up on Love Island and like got kicked off Love Island straight away because everyone just thought he was a twat. And he's like one of the faces of the agency he works for. And it's so funny because I've had people say to me, he's been messaging me about you. And I'm like, we worked together 5 years ago.
Oh my God.
And he's like, that guy's a prick. Because like I was just on the day, I was just so not in the mood for the guy. He was just unbelievably arrogant. And he was like talking to Jamila about how like, yeah, women love me. I'm sure, you get it.
I bet you should
and
love
she's just
that.
like, yeah, sure.
Get out of my house.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's funny. Like I like working with male models a lot. I'm struggling right now with working with females. Like I'm really currently struggling with a few things that I think are unmaintainable. Like I think the editing is just becoming exponentially ridiculous.
In what way? Like the
amount of editing that is being done to like skin and to someone's looks. Okay. The average person, I don't want to say the average person, but like the average like 25-year-old girl or woman, I'm not being rude. The average 25-year-old woman is like using Facetune apps for pictures of themselves in toilets.
Yeah.
So then when it comes to someone using a camera that picks up so much more detail and stuff, the level of editing is just crazy. The amount of makeup being worn by like some people is crazy and it's really not being applied particularly well.
But it's everywhere now.
Yeah.
It's not just models. It's just everyone.
No, exactly, yeah.
It's everyone, isn't it?
It's across the board. Like I'm finding with some brides, it's nuts. I've had people ask me, like I never forget this. I was in the middle of doing couples photos, and I said, right, at the end of the couples photos, I'm going to do some portraits of the two of you, like separately, and photographed him. And as I was photographing him, the bride went, "What focal length are you using?"
Oh wow!
And I was like, "Oh, I didn't know she was a photographer." Okay. She's like, "I'm not a photographer." And I was like, okay. She's like, but I know what focal length works for his face. And I was just like, oh my God.
Oh my God.
Like
that's a bit.
I think it's a lot of energy being directed to how we make ourselves look in photos. And
But people are growing up now, aren't they?
Yeah.
Little babies getting cameras in the face.
Yeah.
Straight away. It's just
and
part of
like multiple all the time. Like you imagine when you were, I mean, I'm 31. So when I was a kid, it was obviously film. If someone had a camera, it was one. And like yesterday, we're at a family function thing, like not a function, we're like a family thing at Jamila's auntie's house. And we've got a little niece, 18-month-old niece, I think 16-month-old. I'm a guy, I don't care. It's like a year, 18 months, 2 years. I don't do the like, oh, she's 943 days old or whatever. I don't do that. So like about 18 months old. I can't do the maths that's that specific. And every time she does anything, she's a cute little girl. She's a wonderful little girl. But there's like 5 phones coming out towards her. So she's going to grow up normalized with just like constantly having a picture taken.
Yeah, I do worry like what it does to like, I don't know, your mental, do you know what I mean? Like how your relationship with you and how you look and stuff. You like,
I think people are probably scared to go out the house now without looking like they're ready for the paparazzi. It's
funny because like modeling's my job and I get my picture taken a lot.
Yeah.
And I do selfies and bits and bobs for social media, but personally, like with my friends and family, I'm not keen on getting my picture taken as much. Like it's
Why
funny.
do you think that is though? Is it because it's you instead of like,
I think
instead of Karl and Monaco, it's you?
Maybe it is.
Right.
Yeah. Because like Adrian will take, snaps of me around the house and I'm like, I hate that picture, get rid of it. And he's like, but it's you, he's like, it's my wife.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe because I'm so used to seeing myself, I don't know, like my image is like, it's my job. It's
right.
I don't know.
So you're like adverse to pictures of you more than like, it's not the right picture. It's more that it's just a picture of you.
Yeah, I suppose so. Just like, I don't know, just like bad pictures of me really out there.
Right. Well, so that's something that I can't imagine how you get used to.
Yeah, it's hard.
You remember the first time you had pictures taken on like a modelling job and they were awful and you saw them back? Like, what does that do to you? How do you feel about that?
You feel bad.
Sorry.
No, you feel like, I don't know, you just think, like, why have they posted that picture? You know, I can see it doesn't look good. How can they not?
Yeah.
But when you're working with new photographers, amateur photographers, everyone sees things differently. Everyone's at a different level. And you've got to put up with those pictures being out there, really, because you don't have much control.
Yeah.
It's like, what can you do? You can email them and say, I don't like that.
Yeah.
But I might upset them, which I have done in the past, you know.
Well, you've emailed people and said?
I've messaged a couple and said, I don't think that was the right picture to put out.
Right.
Oh, but I like it, blah, blah, blah. And it's their picture.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard, right? Because you're in it. It's
hard.
So it's you, but
hard.
It's theirs.
It's hard, yeah. It is hard, but I think I've built up quite a thick skin over the years to just deal with it.
Do you ever find you have a shoot where you're looking at the back of the camera and you're like, these look good. These are really, really good.
Yeah.
And then you see the editors and you're like,
what have they done?
Happened?
Why did you do that? Yeah. It's happened. Yeah.
Why am I green?
Yeah. Or when they put the, what is it called? That filter that pulls all it's a HDR or something.
Oh, right. Yeah. Where you pull all the detail out.
The clarity. I hate that.
Oh, there's a new one. So on Lightroom, there's now a texture slider, which the only thing I can work out it does is if you take it anywhere from 0 to 100 or 0 to minus 100, it just makes your photo look shite. I have no idea what else it's supposed to do.
But isn't it supposed to be for like architecture?
Yeah, it's not supposed to be for people.
For women's skin.
Yeah, it's for buildings and for women's skin.
Not like an art nude or bikini shot. But yeah, it never gets easier.
No.
Do you know what I mean? It's just not. But if I see a bad picture, I kind of like, I don't know. I just...
tune it out.
Yeah, tune it out and move on.
What about when you're working with Adrian?
Yeah.
So husband and wife, photographer, model.
Yeah.
Who's the director? Who's leading the way on that?
Oh, well, it depends what we were shooting.
Yeah.
Because sometimes he'll have an idea and a concept he wants to shoot.
Yeah.
And vice versa. And sometimes we do clash.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. Like he'll
Well, he's like messing up your idea or you're messing up his idea.
Or he might not get what I want to shoot. And sometimes we have that. But, you know, it happens. I don't mind it actually. Because when we do come together and we create something really good, it's special.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can't plan for that. And I think that's what sometimes makes the pictures really good.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Yeah. And like, it's always that like chaos theory.
Yeah.
Like where you take two different people who have two different interpretations of the same thing. And sometimes that will be just shite.
Yeah.
And sometimes it'll just like, it'll create this whole third thing that neither of you expected, but it's like
absolutely
exactly what you wanted, but you didn't know you wanted it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. One of our favourite shots we did was in Preston years ago. It was in a subway, and it was kind of like a take on a Helmut Newton.
I know the
style.
shoot, yeah.
And we went out. It was like winter. It was snowing, freezing. I had a suit on. I was sort of like topless underneath.
Yep.
You couldn't see anything. I had my coat on.
Like black blades done up kind of thing, yeah.
And we went out and it was freezing, and I was moody as hell. And we tried to do the shot and there was too many people, and then it went quiet, and then we went for it, but it wasn't working.
Right.
It just, for some reason, and we had a bit of a moan at each other. And then I was a bit grumpy, he was grumpy. And then it was like, right, let's go shoot again. And I think because I was like annoyed,
right,
I had the attitude like in me, and it just worked. And we took about 4 frames and it was like, right, we're done. We've got the shot.
You needed the anger to get to
sometimes you do. And it's the emotion, isn't it? What we do, it's all connection and emotion and how you deal with it.
Well, there's a music producer. I probably talked about this on the podcast before, thinking about this now, but it doesn't matter. And what he did was he was producing a record for a punk band, a female-led punk band, and all of her performances in studio were really plain. Okay. So what he did was he come in one day. He's done like work with Aerosmith and my favorite band, which is Black Country Communion and Joe Bonamassa and people like that.
Cool.
And he hit Aerosmith's guitar player with a bit of wood, I believe. Yeah. He got annoyed with him, and he's a cool guy. Don't do that.
Don't do it.
Yeah, don't do it. But he was doing this record with this punk band, and it's supposed to be like punk, like old punk, like angry old punk. And she was just kind of like singing. So he said, he come in one day, he's like, I'm just gonna fuck with her. And he's like, can you just go in the booth? We're gonna start recording this song. So she walks around, she goes in the booth, and you can see each other. And he just sits there talking to one of his assistants, and she's just stood there like,
okay.
So she goes to walk out and like, are we doing this? And then he's like, no, wait there. We're gonna start in just a couple of seconds. And then she's like, okay. And she sits there drinking his coffee, chatting to this guy. And he does this for about 20 minutes straight. And then she comes storming out and goes absolutely apeshit. And she's calling him all these names and having to go at him. And he's like, right, now get in there and do a proper performance.
She's got the fire in her
and now she's pissed off. Now we can record. And he basically said, yeah, I've been fuck with you. Now get in there and
do it.
And I use that at weddings. Like not in that way, obviously, because that wouldn't work. But I use, so like with wedding couples, there's like an awkward energy because you're with the only other person you've trusted to say most things. And you've got this guy that's making you both feel weird because it's a weird scenario.
Yeah. And they're not used to it.
And I use the awkward energy where I like make it more and more and more awkward. Not like for ages, not like 20 minutes, but like you give it like a good minute of saying, like, okay, just hold it there, just be a second, and then you just don't do anything. I make them look at each other and look back at me and I'm not holding the camera.
Okay.
And things like that. And they're just like, this is really, like, what is this? And then I'm like, right now I've made you feel awkward. Now you can act normal and you can kind of break the tension.
And then they just relax.
And then they're just like, oh, this guy's a twat. And they have a laugh. And, you know, like one of the things I always say to couples is like, just to yourselves, I don't want to hear it because it'll hurt my feelings, but what animal do you think I most look like? And then you just they'll be talking and you can get a couple pictures. And like, I remember one where the groom, I heard him go like a wombat or I don't know.
Oh God.
And I was just like, I heard that. And they start laughing, you get a picture and it's like, oh, there's
So these little tricks.
Yeah.
They help.
Yeah, you have to manipulate people. That's what I think you have to be good at.
Especially when you're shooting all these, couples, because you don't know them, it's all different people and you've got to.
Yeah, and you can't do like a one size fits all as well. Like you have to be taking notes at the beginning of the day. If the bride is like super focused on how she looks and how people are looking at her, you have to find another lane.
Fit in with their personality.
Yeah, you have to find you can't go down the like, oh, you guys look awkward because that's it. She's like, oh, I look awkward, I look bad, and that's it. You've lost them. So you have to find another lane. With the two of you though, because I haven't seen you two shoot, and I'd like to do like a BTS video or do some BTS pictures and watch you guys shoot.
Come over and
I'd love to, because I'd love to see you guys work.
Yeah. So Adrian's getting more into video, actually, just as like a hobbies, getting more into it. But yeah, you'd love that. I'd
love to see you guys work. One of my favourite shoots you did, and I don't know the story behind it or like who was in charge of the directing, had like a boat.
Yeah, they're probably my favourite pictures. Yeah.
And where was that taken? Because it didn't look warm.
Wiltshire.
Okay, it wasn't
Wiltshire. Warm. No, it was in. I think it was in the summer, but it wasn't. Yeah.
Well, it's England, so it's like English summer.
I'm just trying to think. They're some of my favourite pictures. Yeah. They were really
Whose idea was that? Was that yours going in or was that his?
I think it was my idea. Yeah, and I got James McKnight to come do the makeup.
Yeah.
And we shot it.
It was like a shipwreck type theme. Was that the gist of it, or what was the like?
I think I must have seen some sort of. There's a model, Polish model called Anja Rubek. Have you heard of her? She's amazing.
Really good BTS with her and Testino.
Yeah, she's like one of my favourite models. And I'm sure I saw something with her on, I think it was a beach. She might have been wearing a suit and she had some sportswear, but it was her attitude with it. Yeah. And I love Peter Lingenberg's work.
Yeah.
And there was a shot of Catherine Deneuve he did on the beach. In a black suit, slick back blonde hair. She just looked cool as hell. And it was sort of that vibe I wanted to go for, like not trying too hard, but, you just are in that moment. And anything with a black suit, clean lines.
There's a lot of that in your history, right?
Yeah, I love it.
Do you have a lot of black suits just lying around you, and like you turn up and it's supposed to be like a sports suit? You're like, well, I also have a black suit.
I've got a suit. I always have like a suit, jacket, leather jacket, jeans. I like classic because I think they never go out of fashion and they never age as well.
Yeah.
If you keep buying trends that come round, they date your pictures.
And you've spent money on stuff that's like in 3 months.
Yeah.
No one wants to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a fair bit of that. What's the preference with you when it comes to like direction? Do you prefer it when you have the idea and you have to battle Adrian for like him to understand it, or do you prefer it when he has the idea and you kind of are trying to interpret it?
It depends on the idea that he's got.
Right. Has he ever had a really bad idea and you've just been like, no?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Yeah, but to be fair, we like the same sort of style.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Definitely on the fashion, but also it's like, I hate, edgy, hate saying that word, but sort of like, do you know what I mean? There's something maybe a bit sexy, a bit strong coming from the images.
Yeah. Well, one thing I've always found with the work that you two produce is that I'd never use the word vulnerable. Like it's never about making you look like a woman.
Yeah.
Like where you're like, that kind of like
soft.
You're kind of soft and submissive in the picture. Yeah. Like you're always a strong character.
Yeah.
Is that like him pushing that? I mean, I know you are one.
No, it's both. It's definitely both. But I know Adrian does prefer women to look strong.
Yeah.
And powerful in the shot.
Yeah.
And I just much prefer it, and it's much more fun as a model.
Yeah.
To have that attitude, when you're posing, and definitely.
I have a bit of a theory that we're going to look back maybe we're not, but in about 100, 150 years time, provided the planet hasn't disappeared as everyone keeps telling me it's going to do.
Who knows?
That we'll look back at a lot of the photography that's been done over the last like 10 years, and it's going to be a really creepy time.
Right.
Where there's two things happening. One, because of like everyone's open about themselves now a lot more publicly because of, computers and whatnot and social media, people aren't afraid to like do weird shit for the sake of like not embarrassing themselves. People don't seem to have a filter anymore for embarrassing themselves. And on the side of that, there's a lot of women that are growing up in maybe fairly oppressive households or not being able to express themselves particularly well. And as we all did, I think everybody did, when you're in your like late teens, early 20s, you're a fucking idiot and you do a load of stuff you wish you hadn't done.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to look back at like the beginning of the 2000s and be like, what the fuck was going on?
Yeah.
Like there's some weird photography out there. There's some stuff that just does not float at all.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I used to go on 500px a lot because it felt like that was where more of the like proper photography.
More interesting.
Yeah. You go on Flickr and you get a mix of like people that take pictures of nothing, people that take pictures that are really gross, and then people that are actually good at it. And you have to kind of sieve quite heavily. 500px used to be a lot better for you could get to the good stuff quite easily.
I don't think I really go on there.
Well, it got bought out last year, I think, and it's kind of changed a bit and it's gone a bit flickery. And
Are you on Flickr?
I am, but I don't do anything with it. I did that thing where you're bored in an evening and I opened a Flickr account and then I've never gone back and revisited it. And I think probably where I deleted my like whole portfolio 18 months ago and started again, that like probably what's up there I wouldn't want to know is still up there, and I'd have to quickly like go and shoo away and put new stuff up, and it's not really worth maintaining. I'm not going to get anything from it. So,
but you don't shoot much nude now, do you?
Nothing,
or like
nothing
fashion
at all.
nude?
No, nothing at all.
But you did some good stuff.
I
like that set we did at Scarlet Door years ago.
The first one.
Yeah, we got some great pictures in like with the blue jeans topless.
Yeah. I think
they were really cool.
Well, that was it was almost entirely you. I had like vague ideas of how I could light what I thought would do the job, because I tend to break lighting down more into the mood it sets rather than like technical aspects.
Yeah.
So you're very, very quiet, clearly, but you have like this huge presence in front of a camera, and I don't know how to put my finger on how you do it, because when you meet you in person, you're not like, I don't mean this to sound like I'm calling anyone anything, but you're not like a huge person. Like you're not like, you don't fill a room in the sense of like you're very loud and you kind of.
Yeah, I'm quite just chilled and
you're
quiet,
in the corner just on, like texting or doing your makeup or whatever. You're very chilled out, very calm. But then the second you're in front of a camera, you are like this huge personality.
Yeah.
Where does it come from? When did you first feel like you had that confidence?
Ooh, it's grown. Do you know what I mean? It's not something, I just sort of click my fingers and it's like, it's there. I mean, I've definitely grown as a model, but I don't know. I think it's just getting better at my job, working with different photographers as well in the beginning, because different photographers see you in different ways, and it's trying to figure out, what you're best at and then expressing that. I know it's hard to explain really.
Have you learned more from working, I mean this with absolutely no respect at all to other people, but do you learn more from working with amazing photographers or do you learn more from working with bad ones?
Well, the good photographers, obviously, you learn more from, but sometimes if you work with someone who's not so good, you learn not to do that again, if you know what I mean.
But like from a point of view of like the confidence thing you were talking about earlier, you work with an amazing photographer, they're going to make you feel amazing.
Yeah.
But it's obviously, I imagine it's got to be an amazing lesson to yourself to learn how to pick yourself up when someone's not doing a particularly great job of making you feel confident.
Yeah.
So you learn from that, like, next time I do a shoot and someone's that much of a dick, I'll do this to make myself get through it. And
yeah, I suppose I have over the years.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't really think about it, but I probably have,
Right.
just like automatically.
I forget as well that a lot of people don't live in this kind of endless cycle of self-analytics where, like, you literally take everything that you've ever done and you just constantly reprocess it and think about how you should have done it differently.
Yeah.
Some people like you are just probably happier just living and enjoying your time. Whereas
Maybe. I don't know. Like, if I'm honest, like, I'll do something and then I'll move on.
Yeah.
I don't dwell on things.
Yeah.
I try and live, the best life I can. I know that sounds cheesy, but
Yeah.
I just want to be happy, really.
Is being married to a photographer helpful?
Yeah.
Yeah. In what
Yeah.
way?
I'm just trying to think.
I'm not trying to encourage people to marry photographers. I wouldn't recommend it, but
But we have the same outlook, we understand each other
yeah.
and we just work really well together. I mean, it's helpful in lots of ways,
Yeah.
I mean, Adrian's been amazing, even from like the beginning. I think if me and Adrian weren't together, I'm not sure I'd probably be doing this now, to be honest.
He's kept you going.
Yeah.
So it's his fault.
Yeah, it's all his fault.
Anytime it goes wrong, it's his fault.
It's his fault. No, I mean, I'm lucky because having that strong person with me, do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
To sort of encourage and help and, it's good.
Completely candidly, are either of you particularly competitive about the other people that you work with? Like, do you ever see him shoot a whole, like, like he has, like, he does like editorial type stuff.
Yeah.
And you're like, that could have been me.
Yeah. Yeah. So years ago, he used to shoot with this girl, high-end fashion model. She was amazing. And there was a set he did with her I'm really jealous of. Like, amazing. But yeah. But from him, you'd have to ask him.
Yeah, I will. I'll try.
You need to get him over here.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to try. But I could imagine, like, I think we all try and pretend that we don't feel certain ways, but there are obviously going to be times where
you get a bit
he'll do
jealous.
something and you'll be like, yeah, that should have been me.
That should have been me, but not in a...
Is the temptation ever there
way.
to be like, right, we're shooting that again, but I'm in it?
No. No, once it's done, it's done.
It's done, yeah.
It's done.
What is there left for you to kind of, what's in the pipeline editorial wise or shooting ideas? I know you obviously want to give stuff away because other people are doing it, but do you have like a little scrapbook of things that you want to do or ideas knocking around?
I've got nothing written down or like, stored away that I want to do, but I've got things like I'm thinking about,
You're not worried you lose them? Like, I'm the worst for like, I've got a really good idea. And then 10 minutes later, I can't remember it at all.
No.
You're good at that?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, sure.
I mean, there's so much to do, really. It's just finding the time to do the stuff you really want to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because when it's your job.
Yeah, like you say, if you guys aren't shooting all the time as well.
No, like it's...
Is that a misconception people have though? Do they think that you and Adrian are just always...
Yeah, they think we're always shooting and it's not like that. When this is your job.
Yeah. Finding
time to actually do something for you can be quite rare.
Yeah, I remember when we were at... because we sat next to each other at a wedding.
Yeah,
it's a good time for me to bring up, but I have seen you fall over on the dance floor.
See, I don't remember that. I just remember like shouting at Adrian. I remember because it was his fault apparently. That was funny, and I fell out outside because I had heels on. It was snowing.
About it. I didn't see that, but I do remember. I just remember the noise of you falling over on the dance floor and turning around.
Oh my god! See, it was that bad.
It shows how much of a bad wedding photographer I am. I didn't capture it. I should have caught the moment. Should have caught the moment. sitting and having a chat with Adrian, which I think was the first time I really felt like, oh, he doesn't hate me. Like, because it had been put in my head by someone else. But what I found he brought up pretty much straight away, and I think is like the most common thing is people are like, well, you're a photographer, bring a camera. Like family, like, oh, you coming over, you should bring a camera with you. Oh, you're coming to the wedding, you should bring a camera. And I think, is there like a model equivalent? Is there like times where you have a friend who's a photographer and they're like, oh, we should do a set. And you're like, yeah, but it's my day off. Do you get a lot of that?
I'm trying, not really.
No.
Because I don't have like...
You don't like photographers?
No. I'm just trying, like, friends asking me to shoot and stuff.
You don't get that? Really?
Not really.
I think maybe they're just intimidated then.
I don't know. Maybe, I don't know.
It's because you're a scary Liverpudlian.
Probably. They're frightened.
Yeah. No.
But most of my friends, like in the industry, they're just quite laid back, you know.
Yeah.
And they all work hard but like I said, trying to find time to shoot just for you is hard. But I mean, next year I want to schedule things in because there's things I do want to shoot and you know, just.
Have you done much work abroad?
Yeah.
Because you lived like in Barcelona?
Yeah, I lived north of Barcelona for a year.
And how was that?
It was good.
That sounds fun.
It was good. It was really good. But I was like Adrian was working out there at the time. I was working, but mainly back and forth to the UK.
Right.
So that time was quite chaotic as well.
Right.
It was really tiring. And I think I was doing way too much at that point.
Right. Like get burnout and stuff.
Yeah.
Do you speak Spanish?
No.
Or Catalan?
No, I can get by and say certain things, but no, I'm not.
With your accent as well.
Yeah.
You've got to do something there. You've got to say something.
I can't.
Well, go on, just give us something.
Like, I don't know. Me llama Carla.
It's like when I love when I was at school and I was in German and we had a German teacher that was like Cockney.
Oh yeah.
And they had the funniest way of so it'd be like, Guten Tag.
Yeah.
Like you're at a market, like £1/2 of grapes, wie gehst du? Like it just didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I love when people speak a language but with the wrong accent.
Like Spanish with a Scouse accent.
Yeah, you should do. The best part was you did the
It's funny because when I go back to Liverpool, they think my accent's quite posh.
They think you've lost.
They're like, oh, you're so posh now.
Right.
Whereas down south, they're like, her accent's so thick.
Well, I remember talking to you for the first time about Liverpool and I was like, oh, I've got a wedding in Liverpool. And you were like, where is it? And I said where it was and you were like, oh, that's really bad. So I was then terrified for about 4 months about this wedding.
Joking, but that place can be quite bad.
You were right. It was terrifying.
There are nice parts.
There are?
Yeah, you should. Have you been?
I've only been to the bad parts so far.
Oh.
Yeah, if I remember right.
You should go to the good parts.
Yeah. Well, you should have a wedding up there and then you can show me because I've done the one where it was like, you wear your camera bag all day because you don't want to put it down.
But that wasn't in Liverpool, was it? It was outside.
It's just outside, yeah. I haven't done in Liverpool. Although it was like, I've never seen so many people smoke. Like there were kids smoking. I've never seen so many people. Yeah, it was like a Marlborough wedding.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty
They
insane.
like their ciggies up there.
They do. And also when you have to do the full group and everyone is from there and you've got the southern accent and when I shout, I'm a bit camp. I was like, I'm going to get stabbed or just laughed at. I don't know which one would be worse.
Were they funny though? Were they funny?
Yeah. Like you get big personalities. That's the one thing about going north of like Watford is everyone has a big personality. Sometimes I find like, especially now we live in Hampshire, a lot of people you meet are just very like, hello.
Yeah.
And they don't have any, you don't really know anything about them.
There's a lot of characters up north.
Yeah.
Funny.
Yeah. It's always like, oh yeah, that's perforated Dave. He sits under the dartboard. And you're like, okay. I now know like 6 things about this guy and I haven't even spoken to him yet. And that was always the fun of going north. Like I like going Wales as well.
Wales is
like
beautiful.
one of my most favourite places in the
when
world.
it's not raining.
Well, you can't go to Wales then.
It's beautiful though, Wales.
Yeah. We had a talk last week from a pictures of the stars photographer. And he was Welsh, and it was like the best thing in the world because I was really interested. He was a really talented photographer, but also his accent was marvelous. So I could enjoy the accent and what he was saying.
There you go. Double whammy.
And he said that because of the weather in Wales, he's had to wait like 4 years for a certain photo. And I'm just like... 4 years,
that's commitment, isn't it?
Yeah. Like, Jesus Christ. I'm not waiting 4 years for anything. That's ridiculous. When it comes to other models, obviously we have a few mutual friends.
Yeah.
But do you find like... Do you see any changes in the community? How long have you been modelling now? So you said like you started young, but like full time?
For coming up to about 10 years.
And do you find like the way models interact with each other is changing? Is it like nicer? Are people more free to talk to each other because maybe they weren't in the past, or are they tightening up now and they're not talking as much?
I mean, from my point of view, I just stick to my friends. Really.
You have a clique.
I've got a little posse. Yeah. But I mean, I hope if anyone wants to message me, any of the girls, they can, reach out.
Yeah.
And I feel like I can message them about maybe certain, people and but the people I'm friends with, they're just really nice. I just like to be around nice people, really.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's bizarre. It's a bizarre industry because the photographers are very rarely around photographers and models are very rarely around models. And yet you kind of are reliant on your own kind to like learn and get to know each other and sort of learn how certain people are. And I've had interactions with models we've talked about today where I'm like, God, I wish I'd have known more up front before I
to prepare yourself.
Yeah. And I'm sure there's plenty of people that could say the same thing about me and so on. I just think it's very strange that, especially with like, when you break down modelling, freelance modelling, there's a lot of danger, potentially. There's a lot of built-in potential danger. And it's amazing to me how introvert some are with like not coming forward with, help for other people that might put themselves in the same situation. I understand it's different for everybody. And sometimes it takes a lot of confidence to put yourself out and say, oh, this happened and it was not nice and you shouldn't work with this person. I've worked with this person, I haven't had any images, or they haven't been paid or whatever.
Absolutely.
It's just strange that there's not more of a community to me. But I think maybe it's because there's also an inbuilt competition, right? Because there's only so many modelling jobs, I guess. And
I don't know. I mean, I can only speak from my own point of view, really. You can only go off from your experience, you've had a bad experience with someone, but then it's like, I mean, touch wood, I've not had anything really bad happen to me. The bad experiences I've had have been like working with, awkward people.
Right.
I've had a few people like try and touch me and stuff.
Right.
And I've always then gone on, to tell the people that I know, this is what's happened. And that's all I can do, really.
Yeah, I find it it's a very weird community to stand back from and look at it from just a general point of view. Because you kind of meet someone that you've never met before. Yeah. And obviously there are genres within photography that are terrifying to even think about, going and meeting a random stranger and then going somewhere that you don't know where you are.
Yeah.
I mean, when I first started, there was a story knocking about of a model that had gone to Brighton and to meet a photographer, and that he had put her in his shed for like 2 days.
Okay.
And then panicked and let her go. And it was like,
wow.
Yeah. And I just think it's funny that a story like that is kind of like hearsay.
It should be like on the news.
You should think so, right? But I think maybe as an industry, it's maybe the optics of it, if you're not in it, could be quite damaging because it's weird.
Yeah.
Like a lot of it's weird.
I remember there was a model day I did like 5 years ago now. And I'd worked with a couple of photographers and then had a break. And then the next guy was about to come in, and the studio owner came up to me and was like, "Oh, we've had complaints about this next guy."
Right.
And I was like, "What do you mean?" "Oh, he's just a bit weird, and we had to tell him off last time." And they booked this guy in for me. So
That's confidence building.
Yeah,
for you.
and I'm thinking, oh, great. So I'm nervous as hell.
Yeah.
Went to shoot with him, and he was, I wouldn't say he's okay. Like, he didn't do anything. He was just odd. But they never told me,
Yeah, that's
and it's like, why would you have that person back when two other people have complained about him?
Yeah. We had
that's something like really irritates me, and it's
just putting you in an unfair position completely. And it's one thing to be like, he hasn't done anything, but we don't like him. And it's another thing that's like, he did something to such an extent we had to tell him off as an adult. We had a workshop a few years ago, and basically shooting in a beach in West Sussex. And the model was wearing like a swimsuit for like beach stuff, and then went to put a pair of jeans on over the top as we were moving along to shoot in like a wooded area. And as she's like putting her jeans on, Jamila's with her, and this fella has like snuck up, and he's like, "Do you need help with your jeans?" And he's like reaching down to like grab her clothes. Get off me now. Yeah, and I'm with the rest of the group who've moved ahead. Jamila's with her, and like I learned that day I shouldn't have moved ahead. I should have been, at least within earshot for what was going on. And when Jamila told me, I was like, "What?" She told me literally as she caught up with me, like, "This person's done so," and it was like, "You gotta go. Like, you can't. What's wrong with you? There's no way that's a normal thing to be doing."
Yeah.
And I've had him message me since to come on workshops, and it's like, really? Like how do you have the front?
But some people do, because they don't realise that was wrong. Do you know what I mean? He's obviously hadn't taken it in.
I don't know. I mean, I genuinely don't know. I couldn't have the front. I've had situations where I've been rude to someone because I've been in a bad mood or whatever. I don't then pretend it didn't happen and don't even address the issue. But you
acknowledge. Yeah.
Like, if you're competent enough to use a camera, you're competent enough to know you've done something like that.
But some people don't care.
No, I think that's the main thing. They don't care. And England has a like an extra layer of skin, English people do, when it comes to, well, if someone else feels awkward about it, I can continue to do it, because English people, when they get awkward, don't talk. Like, when someone cuts in a queue, unless you have someone really brash, everyone just kind of goes like, "Oh, I shouldn't have done that." Yeah. Right? I'm the idiot that will be like, "Yeah, that prick just cut in the queue, get out." But there's not many of us.
That's Adrian.
Yeah. I think that's where me and him would bond. That's Adrian.
Because actually reminds me, when we were in Portugal, we were in a supermarket buying something, and there was a young couple in front of us with this guy. I think it was the dad. He had like a guitar. He might have been like a busker or something.
Right.
But he was eating this like KFC bucket of chicken.
Right.
In the queue, just like eating it, which is weird anyway.
Yeah, super weird.
So we're like, okay, whatever. And then we look again, and he's wandered off, and he's waiting for this couple at the other side. And he's left the bucket of like chicken bones in the basket. And he hasn't just like brazen. So Adrian's like shouted all over the supermarket, "Oi, put it in the bin."
Yeah.
And he came back and he like removed it. But yeah, you're right. Most people would just like not say anything.
You don't say anything, and you sort of complain about it afterwards.
But Adrian's terrible at that. Well, maybe not terrible. Like, it's a good thing in a way.
Yeah, and it's a necessary evil. Jamila's always called me a necessary evil, because it's like no one wants to do it.
Yeah.
But it's like the people that don't want to do it are so happy when someone does it.
Yeah.
I've had it before, like a post office a couple of weeks ago, because obviously it's nearly Christmas and everyone's sending all the letters they're ever going to send in 1 week. And I'm waiting in the self-service queue, and there's another queue. And this person wants to move from the self-service queue over to the other queue, but they want to move in with the same number of people in front of them. And like, that means they have to cut off like a load of oldies that obviously don't want to use the self-service because they don't know how to use it. And generally self-service at a post office isn't self-service anyway. And this guy goes to like move across and cuts in. And there's like a woman in front who's holding like a big handful of letters. You know, she's like, that's all she's doing.
And he's cut in front of her.
And he's cut in front of her. And I called over the guy that was on the self-service bit, like who helps people when they need to, like the stupid little swipe. And I was like, yeah, that guy's just cut in. And the guy's turned around and looked. And I was like, yeah, him, that guy looking at me right now, he just cut in front of those people. He needs to get the back of the line. And he's like, okay. And he walks over and he's like, did you cut in? The guy's like, no. And the little old lady's like, yes, he did.
Oh,
yeah, I was like, yeah, good for you.
Good for you, lady.
In with your bag. I think we need more people like that. Not everyone like that, because then we'd be in a horrible state.
Just a few more.
Yeah, you don't want everyone being confrontational. Nothing will ever get done. When it comes to... one thing I've been asked about with this, with talking to you, very specifically, when I've told people that you're coming in, is people want to hear your advice for photographers. Because you've done so much work in like so many cool editorial styles and fashion and all sorts of genres. You know, how do people get the most out of you as a model, firstly?
It's me. Okay. It's like a big question to ask.
Oh, I ask the big questions.
Like, the advice I can give to photographers. Well, I think it's treating the person you're shooting as a person, not just as a subject. Yeah, that's the biggest thing I can say, really.
Yeah.
Getting to know the person a bit. You know, you don't have to, know everything about them.
Yeah.
But treat them as, you know, a person. Take time to chat. If you're going to book someone for like, say, 4 hours, maybe use the first hour.
Yeah.
Just to talk to them and get to know them.
And you get more out of the other three.
Absolutely.
Right.
You know, only because you've booked 4 hours, you don't have to shoot the entire 4 hours.
Yeah.
Which some people do, and, you know.
Well, they do. I think some people think of it on like a value for money strategy. Like, how many photos can I get?
You know, it's kind of like, it's fair enough, but I don't think they ever really get the best out of the person.
No, I went to a studio day as like, I just went to have coffee with the studio owner, and I was the first time I'd really watched other photographers shoot in their own, like without realizing I'm there. And the first guy was, he turned up with, and I promise you this is true, he turned up with about 3 Perspex boxes filled with Nazi memorabilia for the model to wear.
Nice.
And like, my granddad was a prisoner of war. That annoyed me so much. And then he goes, and the next guy is like motor driving on studio lights before you could do that with any studio lights. And he blew 3 studio heads because he was shooting too fast. Like, and it was like flashing every 6 pictures. Why do
photographers do that? I can understand people shooting fast in short burst. You know, like if it's like a fashion trying to capture
like a movement
or, you know, like, but when people do that all the time, I don't understand why. I don't know if it's nerves or they just want to hide behind the camera. And
I think it's a mixture of nerves, and I think it's
like they want to get loads of pictures.
Yeah, it's value for money. It's like if I book a model for an hour and I get 10,000 photos, I must have done a good shoot. I think that's how some people do see it, which is like bizarre, but again, you can understand at least the flawed thinking to an extent. You can kind of understand. I mean, I wouldn't do it that way, but you can kind of understand, okay, at least you can see a through line. It's when people, like the guy you're talking about earlier, who's making comments about, oh, this model's like so wonderful and she does it better than you. What's the end game? Like,
I don't know.
What are you gaining out of being like that?
Yeah.
Because if you did that to me, if we were shooting now and you were just like, oh, I did something like this, but with a way better photographer, I'd be like, fuck you.
Thanks for that. Thanks for that.
Like I'm probably done shooting because, you know, you've just absolutely killed the trust that's supposed to be there.
But yeah, shooting loads, it's like, I think for new photographers, it's like they might think shooting loads, they're going to get something, you know, so they might as well shoot a lot. Oh,
like cast a wide net.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I suppose that also has a bit of a through line.
But yeah, I mean, it doesn't really work for me. If someone's going to blast loads of shots at me.
Yeah. Are you
There's only so much you can keep up with, you know?
Do you like to see a lot of the back of the camera as things are going?
I like to see some.
Yeah, not like constant.
No, I don't want to see like, I just want to see how I'm looking. Is it working?
Right.
Do I need to change anything? But yeah, I don't need to see a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I bring up on workshops, just communicate a little bit of information as well with the model.
Yeah, not overload.
Don't overload them. Like, they don't care what f-stop you're at. They don't want to hear about, you know, every little inch of everything that you're doing. But like, especially for like you, knowing, like, I know you well enough, having worked with you, I know your working pattern well enough that if I don't tell you what my rough crop is, you're going to be annoyed. Sort of like you're going to be trying to figure out what it is that I'm trying to get. So I need to at least tell you what's in frame and how I'm framing stuff up. And then you can work around that. I always say on workshops, like, there's nothing more annoying than when someone's been posing their feet for a headshot and they don't know, you know, especially if you're using like a 70 to 200 and people think, oh, okay, so probably a half body, and it's like, nope, it's literally your paws.
Yeah. But I've had that where I've been shooting portraits with someone and they say, oh, you know, this is the crop. And I say, oh, okay, that's fine. I've just got like my jogging bottoms on that don't match my top.
Right. And then they're in every picture.
And then they post the picture of and then they crop you like weird crops. And I think, why have you done that?
Yeah.
But then it's like, you've just got to
have a whiskey
store
and
it
move
away
on.
and move on. But no, I think like advice for photographers, get to know the person a little bit.
Yeah.
And take your time.
Yeah.
You know, work out what you want.
Yeah.
Talk to your model. You know, maybe shoot a set, view the pictures together, because really you only really want a couple of pictures from each set.
Oh, yeah.
Usually
3 is like a maximum, and one of those is going to be like the one you like the least.
And make that the best, you know, try and don't post the bad pictures.
Well, I found the first time I worked with you, I was still so new in photography that I wanted to post every picture because I had not done a shoot like it. Like
we got a lot. Like even today, like I still post some of them like every so often.
Yeah, I know.
There's so many.
I keep thinking I need to go back and actually edit them. Like I kind of half know what I'm doing.
And I shot with Jamila as well that day, and we got
she
some
did some really
good
cool stuff. Yeah,
it's funny. Like
she had just got into Sue Bryce, who does like the kind of portrait-y, like empowered women thing. And she was like, oh, I want to try stuff like that. And she was showing me pictures and I was like, I've got no clue what I'm doing, but I'll give it a smash. And yeah, I loved, there was a couple of sets you did with Jamila. There's one you did with the
suit jacket.
With a suit jacket, because that's like your thing. And I remember that. And it was like, that almost looked like, that was like, that could have gone in a magazine. Like it would have looked fine in the magazine. Yeah. Maybe a bit better editing because we've both grown up quite a bit since then. But they were good.
Really
they were
good pictures.
Do you find, going back to the advice for photographers, how often do you find you go into a shoot and they just don't know what they want to get from it?
Lately, not so much lately.
Right.
In the past, yeah.
Why has that changed?
I don't know. Maybe it's just the people I've worked with recently.
Okay.
Been more, I don't know, they've had more concepts recently. Right. People have come with their own styling a lot more. But yeah, I've done shoots in the past where I've had people book me for like a full day.
Yeah.
Which is not, you know, it's not cheap, especially if they're going to have a studio or a location. And yeah, turned up and what do you want to shoot? Don't know. So then, but then I've got to then try and, you know.
Well, Sarah said this so funnily. on her one where she said you turn up and you do all of the styling, all of the lighting, you help them with the composition, you help them with their settings, and then afterwards they'll leave you a reference that says you took direction well.
Oh yeah.
Which I thought was the funniest comment.
Yeah, that can happen.
Yeah,
but it's hard because it's quite draining at times.
Yeah,
because I want all my energy to go in as the model. Yeah, because I want to do the best. But if you're modeling, directing, helping with the lighting, doing everything. You can't be in all the places at once. Yeah, and it kind of like waters down the modeling. Yeah, well, I've said this for a long time. Like I went through a whole period, especially when I was a few years in and I was trying to get through a lot of walls that you hit when you're learning something new. And I was like, I'm not working with new models. Like it's a common thing. It's like new photographer of a new model because it's a mutual thing. But the problem is it's not beneficial to either. You need like lightning to strike for that to be beneficial to either. And I've always said, and if I'm wrong, please correct me, but I think that a shoot, regardless of the team you have, you could have like makeup artist, hairstylist, actual stylist, you could have like no end of people on set. But when it comes down to it, it's 50% subject, 50% photographer. Yeah. So 50% the model, 50% the photographer. And if the model doesn't know what they're doing and the photographer really has to like try and chip in, or vice versa, the photographer doesn't know what they're doing and the model has to really try and help, you're not doing your 50%. What is to you 100%, but you're 50% of the agreement. You're doing some of theirs. Yeah. And that's where it starts to actually suffer. It's not a good thing. It's a bad thing. Yeah. Yeah. It's all down to who you're working with, isn't it? Yeah. And also, it could also be, you could have the best team, the best location, everything. Yeah. But if you and your subject aren't connecting, then, the pictures are not going to work really. No. So, but yeah. When you look back on what you've done in modelling, what's like, is there like a situation that you're most proud of, or is there a set of photos that you're most proud of? Do you ever like have like a little reminiscing time where you pour yourself a glass of wine, you look over your work? Or? I'm trying to think. I mean, there's definitely the subway picture I love. Yeah. And the shipwreck pictures I love. There was a nude set I did years ago with Adrian, really simple, but I still really love those pictures. There's certain events that I've done. The event this year with Sarah, the 70s one, that was really cool. Yeah, that was really cool. And I did an event in Seville this year that I absolutely love. And I fell in love with Seville itself. And I want to go back on holiday there. But now I think it's a lot of the like relationships I've made with certain people. Like I work with the Year Breeze quite a lot. Yep. And they're like quite good friends of mine now. And I'm really proud of the people people like Sarah, Nikki, like, they're not just like models, like they're my friends now. Yeah. And that's what I'm quite proud of. Yeah. You don't want to put together like a Carla Monaco magazine with all of your editorials in it. Do you print stuff at home? Know. Do you have like your stuff printed at home? Not really. We should do. Adrian started printing more. Yeah. I think that's like every model and every photographer says that. They're like, I should do, but I don't. No, I'm the same. I haven't. I've got a couple of prints that I've been sent that I've put up. Right. But that's what other people have sent me. Yeah. But no, really, we haven't got much pictures of our work around. I don't know why. You're good now. I've put the idea in your head. Yeah, I'll get home and I'll try and print. No, it's been amazing. So where does everyone find you? So what's your social medias? And I'm on Instagram, Karla Monaco with an X on the end. Yeah, because I always read it as Karla Monaco. Yeah. Karla Monaco. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook as well. And Twitter. Actually, I want to ask you a question to end. Do you have a website? I do, but it's not been updated for ages. This is really common. Either a model doesn't have a website or they kind of have like a neglected one. Why? Why isn't a website important to models? Why isn't it important? Yeah, because it obviously isn't. If like you're
as successful as what you are without a
Yeah.
website. It's obviously not fundamental. So what is it?
I don't know. I think because social media nowadays, it's so like ongoing, isn't it? It's like Instagram's almost like your blog, really.
Yeah.
Because I used to blog quite a bit on my website, but I haven't updated it in ages. And it's just another thing to update, I suppose. I mean, I really should get onto it because I think it is important to have one.
Yeah.
Just to refer back to. But I don't know. I think with the rise of Instagram and Facebook, and that's where
it's just
people
constantly refreshed,
and it's easier to post as well.
As someone said, it's like an archaeological dig on someone's like trending habits and what they're into and how they've progressed in their work is to just go through their Instagram and you can see how they've improved. And I deleted most of mine so people can't see how bad I used to be, which is super helpful. I
like looking back at old pictures there.
Yeah.
Sometimes I look back. Like when I first started, like, oh.
I think I definitely need to go back to our first shoot and look at some raw files and potentially revisit a couple of things that we did.
Especially, I love the ones, with the hard light with the black trousers and I think it's like a bra. They were really cool. Yeah,
that was a cool day actually. Like, forgot that was when we met until like I think we saw each other for a workshop a little while back and it kind of come back to me that that's actually how we met, was like an intense like 6 hours of shooting.
Yeah, because you booked me for the day, but
and then we left early.
Yeah, and I was like, really?
Yeah. Well, because
which is good.
To me, there's no point in overshooting. Like, if you feel like you've done enough and you're like, if you're ever working with someone and you say, okay, so what should we do now? And you go, like, that's when you should stop, because that's when you're just literally scraping. And we had done a lot in 6 hours and it wasn't an intense 6 hours. I don't shoot I haven't changed that. I don't shoot many frames. I shoot, 50 to 100 frames per set at most. Yeah. And if I do 100 frames a set, I've either really enjoyed it or it was terrible. Yeah. I've tried to make something happen and it's not there. Jamila doesn't shoot a lot. We did so much in that time, but it was like, I'd rather book you for the day and then there not be like a point where we're like, yeah, we have to like, wrap things up because we only booked a couple hours. And I also was using shoots with models to learn about how to do what I was doing.
Oh, okay.
Because I was still like, I think you were probably like the 20th person I shot.
Okay.
Like as a model, and like I was using shoots. I was asking questions on shoots to find out how things are done and how you go about like directing a model. And it was a lot of it was just kind of, I booked a lot of shoots in the early days that were like, I don't really like the model, but I can learn quite a bit from yeah,
because everyone you work with, you learn something.
Yeah. And that's why I said earlier about like, do you learn more from the good shoots or the bad shoots? Because I think from a photography side, you learn a lot more from the bad. Because if you can pull something out of a bad shoot, like that's a good feeling. Because it's rare. And you do, unfortunately, I think there are a lot of bad shoots. Depends on your expectation. I think a lot of photographers are like the base level, the experience of being around the model is what they were looking for.
Yeah.
I don't really like people. So that's never really what I'm looking for. Like if I'm shooting, I need to come away with something. And when you have, like you say, when you have personalities clash and it's not conducive to getting something out of it, that's where I think you learn. You don't learn how to like drive a fishing boat, around a little pond in the park. You learn how to do it when you're in the North Sea and the waves are crashing over.
Yeah.
And that's where you really learn the most. And that's kind of, there are some shoots which are very much feel like you're in the North Sea getting hit by waves.
I've learnt my lesson.
Yeah. No, it's been so great to have you in. I'm so thankful you did this.
Thanks for asking me.
No, I'm going to now bug you to get Adrian to come in as well.
Yeah. No, he'll be like...
I'll come to you if he doesn't want to come here.
It's fine. We're not that far away.
No, a lot nearer now. No, but thank you so much.
Thank you, Kris.
Everyone needs to go and check out Carla if they haven't already, immediately.
Thank you very much.